God bless you. God bless you. What's good? What's happening? What's cracking? This is your man, Coach Will. They call me Bill. They call me Will. They call me Chill. They call me the Big Thrill. Psych no. Hey, look. Welcome. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for let's just being faithful. Let's take this march. We're doing this Joshua march. Me and some of my co-laborers, co-soldiers on Streetside Prayer, Deanna. My wife just jumped on board and she's aggressive with it. Who else is walking with us? Jordan, of course. Oh man, and you got to see the footage we did. And we did some outreach ministry over in Moncrief area, Jacksonville. I think it's uploaded on my YouTube. Check it out. Look, it's all about spreading God's word, spreading his light, taking it everywhere, helping people break out of this oppression that they are in the midst of, whether they know it or not. Their neighborhoods are under the grips, under the authority and influence of demonic principalities. People are jacked up, jacked over, and jacked. And they don't even know it. So look, without further ado, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining. Sometimes we struggle with reading our word, I know. And that's why it helps when we read. We're reading right now, a crew of us. And then we'll meet every five chapters and we'll chop it up and have a chop up section. And it's amazing what God reveals to each different person in this different light. It's wonderful. So yeah, man, I'm having a great time. Joshua is a man of my heart. He's a fighting man. He's fighting for opening up lands and kingdoms. And so his people can take it over. In my case, so people can get out and be set free. Right? So without further ado, I said it again, I'm sorry. Chapter 8, verse 1. Adonai says to Yahweh. I'm going to be reading out of my complete Jewish Bible. Remember, they said it's the English translation of the Tanakh. The Tanakh is the Old Testament, and they use old names. Adonai said to Yeshua, "Don't be afraid or fall into despair. Take all the people who can fight with you. Set out and go up to Ai. Because now I have handed over to you the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land. Do to Ai and his king as you did to Jericho and its king. But this time, take its spoil and cattle as booty for yourselves. Ambush the city from behind." You ain't got to steal. God's going to make sure give you provision. See, remember they stole in the last one, tried to hide it under the tent. God had told them, don't take that stuff, man. They took it, try to hide it. Like, look, man, this stuff look too good just to be thrown away. I need to go ahead and hold something. No, yeah, God is going to take care of us to this day. This ain't just stories. You know, they might be, or they're known as historical facts, but they not just stories for gee whiz, golly geez. No. They apply to us right now today. Verse 3, so Yahshua set out for Ai with all the people who could fight. Yahshua chose 30,000 men, the most courageous of his troops, and sent them out by night. He instructed them, you are lying wait to ambush the city from behind. Stay close to the city, and all of you, be ready. I and all of the troops with me will approach close to the city, and all of you be ready. I and all the troops with me will approach the city. And when they come out to attack us, as they did before, we will run away from them. They will chase after us until we have drawn them away from the city. Because they will say, they're running away from us as they did before. So we'll run away from them. Then you will jump up from your ambush position and take possession of the city. For Adonai, your God, will hand it over to you. When you have captured the city, you are to set it on fire. Do according to what Adonai has said. Those are your orders. I wonder why he didn't tell them they can keep the booty and the loot and the cattle yet. Last time he told them, put the sword to everything moving. Verse 9. Yahshua sent them out, and they went to the place for the ambush, stand between Beit El and Ai, to the west of Ai, where Yahshua camped that night with his people. Yahshua got up early in the morning, mustered his men, and went up to Ai ahead of the people. He and the leaders of Israel, all the troops marching with him, went up, advanced, arrived in the front of the city, and camped on the north side of Ai, with a valley between him and Ai. Then he took about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Beit El and Ai, to the west of Ai. Thus the people arrayed themselves, with all of the army to the north of the city, and their rear guard lying in wait to the west of the city. Yahshua spent that night in the valley. The king of Ai saw this, so the men in the city hurried out early in the morning to do battle against Israel. Since they whooped them once, they're like, yo, I can't wait to get them, right? So they couldn't wait till the sun break. He and all his people at the meeting place facing the Arava. But he was unaware that behind the city an ambush had been laid against him. Yahshua and all of Israel made as if they had been defeated before them and ran off on the road to the desert. All the people in Ai were summoned together to pursue them. So they chased Yahshua and were drawn away from the city. Not a man was left in Ai or Beit El who had not gone after Israel, pursuing Israel. They left the city wide open. Look, you don't want to leave yourself wide open. You don't want to leave back door for sin and Satan to come in and creep, right? And of course, these are the children, people of God, but I'm just talking about, ourselves. How do we do that? One of the things we do is right here. We read his word, get his word in between our heart. What's the other thing we do? We spend time and pray with God. Just pray with God. What's another thing we can do? We can worship with him. God, I love you. I love you. Thank you for everything, right? What else can we do? Worship. God, I love you. What else? I don't know. Oh, we can praise up, sing up, praise, sing. He loves to hear our voices singing up to him in praise and worship, right? And then we can meditate on his word, right? So once we do all that a lot, he's going to change us. He's going to change our characters. And we're going to start having a light, his light. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to, use holy, righteous words and, all that old stuff. All we got to do is, display the light and the love of Yeshua Jesus. That means being kind, being compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic, standing against sin and evil and wrong, saying no to sin, evil, and wrong, right? All those things come upon, be added to us. One of the things you can do is share this link on your social media. So many people around you that's hungry and is getting the wrong foods, wrong soul food. They eating the wrong corroded stuff. Feed them, baby. Feed them. Feed them some of this good stuff. All right, verse 18. Then Adonai said to Yahshua, point the spear in your hand towards Ai, because I will hand it over for you. Hand it over to you. Yahshua pointed the spear in his hand towards the city. The men in ambush jumped up quickly from their place. The moment he stretched out his hand, they ran into the city and captured it. And they hurried to set the city on fire. When the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw it. There was the smoke from the city rising to the sky. They had no power to flee this way or that. At which point, the people who had run off towards the desert turned back on the pursuers. When Yahshua and all of Israel saw that the ambush had captured the city and that the smoke of the city was going up, they turned back and slaughtered the men of Ai, while the others came out of the city against them too, so that they were surrounded by Israel with some on this side and some on that. They attacked them, allowing none to remain or escape. But they took the king of Ai alive and brought him to Yahshua. When Israel had finished slaughtering all the inhabitants of Ai in this countryside, in the desert where they had pursued them, they had all fallen, consumed by the sword, then all Israel turned to Ai and defeated it with the sword. 12,000 men and women fell that day, every one in Ai. For Yahshua had not withdrawn his hand, which he had used to point the spear until he had utterly destroyed all of the inhabitants of Ai. Look, that sounds like what's going on right now today, man. Over in Israel right now, in West Bank, Gaza, man, look, they putting the sword, putting the bullet to every last. Israelis that killed about 50,000, 60,000 of them jokers, man, wiping them out. Now, I don't know if the Israelis, man, Israel has the largest LBGT parade week in the whole Middle East. So I don't know if they doing was righteous or just. I don't have a clue. All I can do is tell you the similarities of what I'm reading right here and what's going on there. So are they justified? Are they under God's authority right now and doing the way they're doing? I still don't have a clue. Can't answer that question. All I can tell you is the facts that I know. They putting the beat down on them jokers. Verse 27, only the livestock and the spoil of their city did Israel take as booty for themselves, in keeping with the order Adonai had given Yahshua. So Yahshua burned down Ai and turned it into a tell forever. What is a tell? So that it remained a ruin to this day. The king of Ai, he hanged on a tree until evening. At sundown, Yahshua gave an order. So they took his carcass down from the tree, threw it at the entrance of the city gate, and piled on it a big heap of stones, which is dead to this day. Boy, they didn't play, boy. The leader get caught. You caught the blues back then. You lose. Everything was worth fighting for. Fight or cut a deal. Then Yahshua built an altar to Adonai. Good job. The God of Israel on Mount Eval, as Moshe, the servant of Adonai, had ordered the people of Israel to do this. It is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, an altar of uncut stone that no one had touched with an iron tool. On it, they offered burnt offerings to Adonai and sacrificed peace offerings. He wrote there on the stones a copy of the Torah of Moshe, inscribing in it the presence of the people of Israel. Then all of Israel, including their leaders, officials, and judges, stood at either side of the ark in front of the Kohanim, who were Leviim, meaning Levites, and who carried the ark for the covenant of Adonai. So the Levites carried the ark. And again, when they say that the Levites and the ark, I always challenge everybody. I say, look, when you read the New Testament, and Jesus was walking, he was there was a religious sect there that was beefing with him, right? Trying to torment him. They were called the Pharisees. So don't you wonder what happened to the Levites? The Levite God assigned the Levites. What happened to them? Why were they not the religious leaders? And by the time Jesus got here, there's a true story behind that. Really, and I've never seen it in the Bible per se, the Holy Bible. I think it might be in one of those other readings. Do the research on that. How in the world did the Pharisees get to run the show? All right. The foreigners were there along with the citizens. How about that? The foreigners were there along with the citizens. Half of the people were in front of Mount Gerizim and half of them in front of Mount Eval, as Moshe, the servant of Adonai, had ordered them earlier in connection with blessings of the people of Israel. After this, he read all the words of the Torah, the blessings and the curse, according to everything written in the book of the Torah. There was not a word of everything Moshe had ordered that Yahshua did not read before all Israel assembled, including the women, the little ones, and the foreigners living with them. That foreigners living with them is so important. You know, a lot of people got questions or doubts about whether, I used to have questions like, well, God's blessings only for the people of Israel, his children of blood. But we see already in the Old Testament repeatedly that foreigners were allowed and grafted in, allowed to be part of the blessing of the children of Israel. When they left Egypt, foreigners were there. Not only Israelites, foreigners were amongst with them, right? Here we see it repeated. So when we talk about the New Testament, that you and I, who are not of Israeli or blood, the old ancient Israelites' blood, people get to talking about whether, Israelis who live in Israel right now are the true Israelites, right? Or the Europeans who had jumped in on the crew. So based on this, man, it almost don't matter. We know a lot of Ethiopians, they've been traced all the way back to right here in this biblical period we read, who live over there. But whether they were gypsies and whoever over the centuries that blended in with the Israelites, Jews, they got a chance to be grafted in just like you and I. So we ask who these people are. It almost don't matter no more. If they, man, accept Yeshua Jesus as their Lord and their Savior, which most Jews don't, then they will be saved, just like you and I. All right, bless you. Bendiga Baruch. Shalom, peace. Catch you later. Join me. Share. Pray. Pray over what you heard. Ask God to reveal something to you. To reveal it to you what you heard. And share this link on your social media. Man, help save souls. Be on Great Commission. Holla back. See you for chapter 9.